What's happening, crypto crew? Sean's coming back at you, another cryptocurrency video. We got a lot going on. We have an expert talking before the end of this clip on what considerations the boomer generation, if you have parents that are a little older trying to get into a Bitcoin ETF, should they do the ETF or buy spot? We'll look at all that before the end of this video, so make sure you watch this to the end. So getting straight into it, an update from TA Trader Allen. The same degree trend lines are applied to the latest 3 cycles. So let's see what he's looking at here. He's seeing the 2013 top, 2017 top, 2021 top, and then the 2025 top. Each one of these downward sloping trend lines is roughly -9%. -9%, -9%. So when we have this normal uptrend, what happens? We blast through this downwards sort of resistance and then retest it off to the races. Once again, downwards resistance, blast through it, retest, off to the races. Downwards resistance, look what just happened. Could we see maybe a retest or a pullback before the Bitcoin halving and then be off to the races? So this is what you want to pay attention to. This upwards resistance level, this happened in the middle of 2020. And then the peak happened roughly 12 months later. Downwards resistance level broke through it at the beginning of 2017. Within a year, blow off top. So look here, broke through it. So within a year, are we going to see another blow off top? Could this be late 2024, early 2025? If history's any indication, this could be what's in the cards for Bitcoin. Stock Money Lizards is weighing in. This breakout confirms what we have been predicting for more than a year now. This train is unstoppable. New all-time high, either before or shortly after the halving. It's just a matter of time. So look at here. When you get this 0.618 Fibonacci breakout, shortly thereafter, blast off. Look here. This was a rejection, fall down, and look at breakout, blast off. So are we going to see the next few months get extremely bullish? Could we see 100,000 Bitcoin right around the corner? Stock Money Lizards is potentially calling for that. Another update from him: Bitcoin is overbought and overhyped. The contrary is true. Here's why: we will likely hit prices greater than 200,000 by mid to end of 2025. This sort of contradicts his previous post here. So breakout, shortly see a new all-time high. So are we going to see a new all-time high first and then maybe a cool off before a continuation? That might be what he's calling for that previous chart. When Bitcoin seems to reach overbought levels on long time frames, the party usually just starts. So what he's looking at is this indication down here. You got basically this red line. When it crosses above into this green zone, this is when the bull zone starts. And right now, you see this was 15 bars. This was roughly a little over a year. Looks like almost a year and a half before the peak was. And then right when you get back in this zone, look, it is about a year. And look, we're getting right back into this zone. Now note, sometimes when we retest this zone, we get rejected before we ultimately get into it. So will we get a rejection? Will we go into this zone in a strong fashion? Any way you cut the cloth, if you look at the longest time frame, 15 bars, you're looking at somewhere probably within the first half of 2025 before we see this parabolic run up. Looking at the Bitcoin dominance, what do we see? Is it a good time to buy altcoins? Now, it looks like there's a major level that Bitcoin dominance needs to get past. That's at 54.16 level. If we zoom into this, what do we see? We see that we did have a potential breakout, and look, we fell back down, retest, fell down to this upwards trend line, had a bullish engulfing, and then came right back down, didn't hold, and look, for the third time, we had a breakout. So 1, 2, 3 breakouts, but then fell back down to this cliff. And then this fourth try here, look, we got rejected. So looking at the RSI, we see that it was an extremely overbought territory here. It put in a lower high, and this put in a higher high as the price put in a high then a lower high. So this seems to be a divergence. So as this retests, as this comes back down, could this price action come back down? And then the next level we want to pay attention to is this level here. This is around the 51% range, because as you see, every time we get back down to these levels, we just wick down and then have that bounce right back up. So if we come down and break below this, have a retest, and then a continuation to the downside, this will be that massive alt rally that people are looking for. So keep this in mind. Looking at the total three overall altcoin market capitalization, what do we see? What do we anticipate? Zooming into the price action. In the short term, look here, this could be some type of, this sort of like a rounding bottom, maybe a potential inverse head and shoulders. You see this could be a shoulder here with a head, with another little shoulder, or this could be some type of big macro, cup rounding bottom pattern. We could have a breakout, a retest here, the $515 billion range before having a continuation to this technical target up here. So if this technical target goes up to $615 billion from where we are right now, an increase in the overall altcoin market capitalization. This would be roughly another 12, almost 13% move to the upside. So why do we think this is happening? Because if we look at the bigger picture and we scrunch this down, this could be what is initiating this massive alt rally that could be happening within the next year or two. And if we pull out our tool set here, we need our Elliott impulse wave. If we look here, you see we put in this one, this two leg, this third leg, and this potentially could be the fourth pullback with this macro blow off top, as you see here. And then we went into their bear cycle. And if we do this again, this could be the start of wave one right here. If wave one goes up to the $615 billion range, we could go into the halving, pulling back, get extremely parabolic, have a fourth leg, and then an ultimate blow off top, finishing out this 5-leg series. If we zoom into here and actually see, so this is sideways chop right here, so this actually might start here, and this could be a micro 5-wave Elliott impulse. You see 1, 2, this could be the third, this could be the fourth, and then we could come up this high to this cycle, and this could be all wave one. And the reason why we think we can go up this high, because if you take a measure of this first leg, which would be this bottom here to this peak, and then pull this leg up, we can see that this fifth leg has to be as long as the first leg. So right now we're consolidating over support. And if we come up to this range, that would technically be longer than the first leg. So zooming into this price action once again, the technical target, if we just pull this down from this neckline of the resistance, so here to here, you see this comes up almost perfectly to this resistance level. And if we look back in the charts at the resistance level, we see there's a lot of confluence back down this range. We bounced off it. When we broke through it, we fell off a cliff. So this is a lot of confluence. So this could be where the technical target is for this first leg. Going into the halving, we'll have a pullback. So this will be, a lot of fear in the market. People think it'll be over, but then we'll bottom out. And eventually, after the halving, as Bitcoin takes off, the alts will follow and blast through this and be extremely parabolic. So without further ado, let's hear from Larry Lepard and see what he's talking about with boomers and considerations if they want to get into these markets. Let's check it out.
Well, first of all, I kind of test where they are on the technology and the understanding scale, right? And if they're extremely low on the technology and understanding scale, and they're not particularly worried about, the government taking over all these different companies and grabbing, doing a 6102, I say, hey, buy the ETF, right? You'll get price exposure. Yeah, you'll have to pay tax on it, et cetera, et cetera. Just to understand the risk you're taking. And for your average boomer, that may not be such a bad way to go. I don't personally like that way, and I explain to them the risk is that, in a 6102, the government can go and grab all those ETFs and say this is ours now, or we're taxing it at 90% or whatever. You don't really own the coins. You own a claim to the coins delivered to you via Fidelity or BlackRock. But I think in general, Fidelity in particular, I trust. I don't trust BlackRock, but I trust Fidelity that they are going to deliver what they say. But there are other clients I have who, are with me in terms of full conspiracy theory on all the stuff the government could do. And they say, all right, I want to self-custody. I want to be able to get on an airplane and leave the country with my coins. And so I take them through the process of self-custody. In fact, this weekend I'm going to spend some time on a Zoom call with a gentleman who's one of my clients, and I'm going to take him through how to set up his Trezor, and get his words, and I'll have him go through it a bunch of times. Send a little bit of money over there, wipe it out, restore it, send it, wipe it out, restore it. Okay, and then I'll send him a template for what I call the treasure map, which is the paper he's going to write to his wife and kids that says, this is our Bitcoin, this is where it is, this is what you should do when I get hit by a bus. And then that template and that treasure map needs to be incredibly secure, as you and I both know. So yeah, I think that's a better solution. But to be fair, some people don't want to go that far. And if they're just, as opposed to owning stocks and bonds, buying a Bitcoin ETF, it can, can be it's a damn good step in the right direction. Let's put it that way.